All right, so I'm going to ask you some kind of big theoretical questions before we get to the juicy stuff, which is your new film. You're in the States. President-elect Donald J. Trump is a reality. Congratulations, because you fought so hard and did so much of what the groundswell should have been doing the whole way around, along the way. So I have to ask you, what for you is the state of free speech right now in the good old US of A?
The biggest problem with free speech now is that the government isn't censoring people much. It is the censorship that we're kind of doing to each other. And that is an issue a lot of people don't understand. The big problem is Twitter censorship, Facebook censorship. These tech companies have this massive amount of power to sway public opinion. They're starting engaging in a lot of censorship. And then there's the public shaming that people are doing to each other that's also a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this has become a censorship. The attack on free speech has become a tool of the left for those people whose ideas I think that they know are so weak that they would not be able to stand the test of any sort of even basic debate. They can't abide by those that question them, and so they shut us down. So then who for you is the biggest threat? You said just ourselves?
Yeah, we're doing it to each other. That's kind of the premise of Silenced, Our War on Free Speech. We like to think that there are good guys and bad guys. The hate mobs are what silence people. The mobs that go around and they dig up a tweet and then they try to get you fired over a tweet. They're calling your boss. They're causing drama in your personal life. The censorship is coming from our fellow Americans, our fellow Canadians, our fellow citizens. We have not enough. And I would like to just say the left is doing it and I'm perfect and I'm a great guy, but I'm looking for a little bit more unity and trying to take the high road here. So I'll just say we're doing it to each other. The hate mobs, the shaming, the tweet mining, that's the kind of stuff we got to get over.
And I have to say, as a member of the media, the amount of self-censorship that occurs here is just mind-blowing. You'll see it from little things all the way to big things. Pixelated cartoons from Charlie Hebdo. Like, what the hell are we doing here? Do we have some sort of Sharia compliance within the field of journalism that I'm unaware of? If we are censoring ourselves, if we are censoring free speech, then it stops us from actually talking about the problems that we so seriously face. What do you think Donald J. Trump's effect on free speech is going to be? Net positive? Do you think he's going to be able to actually change what is, frankly, a global war on individual speech?
Yeah, touching on your point earlier, Lauren Southern was banned from TV because she made one little joke on Sky News.
Yeah, exactly. And it was clearly satirical, and who cares? Even if she was serious about it, she should be allowed to say it. But we in the media, and I say not so much the undernews and us in the new media, who I think are much more liberal and take our liberties much more seriously. The old guard, the mainstream media, is like afraid of their own shadow, let alone controversial ideas, which we have to face based on just the threats that we face kind of en masse. Is there anything, just out of curiosity, say, because I ask you who's the biggest threat, is there anything that is outside of the limits, like what we can't say? You
shouldn't incite violence against other people and child pornography.
Yep, those are the two things. Yeah, those are my two boxes as well. Other than that, I'm like, fair game, say it. And if you say something idiotic, if you say something stupid, guess what? The marketplace of ideas is such that no one's going to be picking up or buying your product. Okay, so tell me a little bit about this movie. The trailer's online. Why did you get involved in this crusade for free speech, and how did this movie come to be?
The movie was completely crowdfunded by the people. They said, I want to see a documentary on free speech. And I believe if you want to see something, then just manifest the reality in your own life. So I go, okay, if people want me to do it, I'll do it. I'll make it happen. So I kickstarted it. The Kickstarter was very successful. I found a great director, Lauren Feldman, who was also passionate about these issues. He had been publicly shamed by Gawker like 8 or 9 years ago for a clearly satirical thing that he had done. And it's funny because just as the media is going after David Horowitz and going after Steve Bannon, Lauren is like a super Zionist Jew, and he's been called anti-Semitic by the media, which is, of course, completely ludicrous. But if you are not just left-wing Orthodox, then you must clearly be anti-Semitic. But if you spend 30 seconds with Lauren, we even had a conversation. I go, Lauren, like, I know you're Jewish. I know you want the Jewish people to thrive, but can we talk about, something else? So the media is just completely lying about people. So I realized that it was incumbent upon me and on all of us, because it was backed by the people, to tell the truth about free speech in America and the West. We have a great cast. I don't know if you've ever had a time where there's a neo-Nazi, sort of going back and forth the way we edited it with Alan Dershowitz, a Zionist, pro-Israel, pro-free speech Jewish lawyer.
I love it. So much of what we do here at The Rebel is crowdfunded. It's, people's demand, and we try to offer a supply, and we try to do so in a way that affords our talent, our producers, the most amount of editorial freedom. And, folks will talk about how the internet lowers the level of discourse, but I'm of the school of thought that it just reveals the level of discourse. And these conversations are being had, and they should take place in the public sphere, because then we can deal with them and argue based. Arguments will win or lose based on their merits, as opposed to stupid monikers that we affix to them. I can't help but think of Andrew Breitbart, rest in peace, the legend and titan that he was. And he had been talking about these labels of racist and anti-Semite being slapped onto the right before it was on anyone's radar. And we see this now, with Bannon, who, worked for Breitbart, started by a Jew, employs some of the smartest Jewish people of our era, including Joel Pollak. A sexist, right, by the way, like half of his staff are females. What do we do? Because I think, for me, it's a mixture of government, it's a mixture of media, and it's a mixture of we the people that are all contributing to the metastasizing cancer that is an attack on free speech. And the media, for me, is the biggest firewall to these ideas reaching a higher level of debate. Because you watch CNN, you watch MSNBC, and they'll say, well, this guy's a racist, therefore continue on with premises that follow from that flawed thesis. What do we, the consumer of media, the engager in politics, what do we do to either A, combat this, or B, make some sense of it and actually derive some truth at the end of the day?
So I believe there are two different groups of people have two different duties. People like me who have essentially freedom from the financial grid. I push the limits of free speech, and I even say things that I might not agree with, because that gives everybody else breathing room in the middle. What are they going to do? They've already written about me in New York Times, Washington Post, Gawker. They've tried. Mother Jones is going to write a hate piece on me. I don't care. You can't take me down. So my duty, I view it, my responsibility is to be very aggressive for free speech. What I tell other people is that if you don't like the way the media is, then you have to support good media people like Rebel Media, other causes. By the way, Rebel did not tell me to plug them. You need to support it. If you don't like the media in this world, and that's the whole basis of my mindset principles, guerrilla mindset, my MAGA mindset, my books about mindset is, great, the media sucks. We know it. Are you going to go get a $5 latte every day, but you can't kick in $5 a month for honest media? To be frank, I don't have a lot of sympathy for those complaints if people are spending their money frivolously while complaining about the media, because we're up against billion-dollar corporations. The New York Times is subsidized by Carlos Slim. You're up against the government.
That's 100% the case. But look, folks are turning off their TVs. They are shutting the New York Times. They're stopping their subscriptions to all of these things, and that is what has led, I'm of the belief, to the election of Donald Trump. Because if everyone was keeping CNN on, if everyone was keeping MSNBC on for the duration of that electoral process, Hillary Clinton would be president-elect at this time. But that gives me some sort of hope for the future. I think that the pendulum has swung too far. The leftists, the globalists, they have been in control, and they have pushed the limits that we were affording to them up until this point in time, and that people have been having conversations around the water cooler. They've been having conversations around their dinner table, and they say, I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. And it's because of people like yourself, Mike, people like Paul Joseph Watson, and so many other just forces to be reckoned with that are taking advantage of the new media, of what I hope and pray will remain a democratic and liberal process that is the internet. They're taking advantage of these means and getting their message out to the people who are hungering and thirsting for the truth. And what I loved about what you just said is you can't be afraid. You can't give a damn, because all of this censorship, all of its end, it's a tool to shut us up. And we cannot shut up, and we have to take the repercussions that come from using our voice. Tell folks where to find your film and where to find more of you.
Great. You can find more about Silenced at silencedmovie.com. You can also go to dangerandplay.com or my Twitter. As people will know, I share a lot of good content on Twitter, but you'll never have to worry about me not promoting what I'm doing. So you'll hear about. If all you do is go to my Twitter, which is my last name, Cernovich, Cernovich, or dangerandplay.com, you can find out about the books, the movies, the journalism. We have a lot going on.
Your website has become an absolute main course of my media diet. Thank you so much for all the hard work you do, and thanks for being with us today.
Keep killing it, Faith.